Welcome to MyLITV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we have traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. MyLITV starts now.
Garvies Point has been in existence since 1967, and this museum is devoted to the natural history of Long Island. We focused on geology, archaeology, Native American culture, and the natural sciences.
I worked here for 40 years, not at this site specifically, but I actually was hired by Nassau County when the museum was still in construction, and the geologists they had on staff decided to move on. So they needed a geologist because the project was already, well along, and they had an archaeologist. So we had they had to cover the two disciplines, archaeology and geology, and that's how I got started so many years ago. Well, an archaeologist is someone that studies mostly human prehistory, and a geologist, on the other hand, studies the earth. Many of these exhibits are original from when the museum began. And many have been added or enhanced as time has passed. Dioramas have perspective. In other words, the figures in the foreground are larger in relationship to the ones that appear back in the distance to give you a three-dimensional look. And this is set up so that the different stages of development on Long Island, from the archaic through the transitional to the woodland stage, are also depicted here. These were part of the original exhibits of the museum. And continue to be, very popular, especially with the kids. There are some mastodon teeth that are found. A couple are found on Long Island, some in the offshore waters. Mastodons, roamed the coastal plain area during the glacial, the last ice age. This is a scale model that tells the story of a site that out in Wading River, and this model depicts the activities that went on in that area and the story of what we were able to reconstruct from what was found. This is a core that you put down, and you go down and you get samples, and you bring it up and you put them in test tubes, and then you go down again. You do it. It's a laborious process because you're constantly going down. In some cases, we just did probes where we went down as far as we could to see how thick the mud was. And we got down as much as 40 feet in some cases. We got a pretty good result from this. We put, I think, about 200 of these down in the marsh. It was a process that took several years, all told. Over years, farmers who were tilling their fields would turn up a lot of artifacts, and some of them became very ambitious collectors. So this is sort of like a museum exhibit of an old style display where people, amateurs, were kind of showing everything they got. This was a concept here that went back to the original director of the museums to show, what a working lab looks like. So this used to be very active years ago when a lot of the material was coming in when we were doing excavations. Over the years, this has been used for many different projects. The processing of the material from the Garvies Point sites. Some of the items here in these boxes, it's all cataloged and marked, and for any researchers who want to see what actually came out of the sites. The actual materials here in the file cabinets over there are the site files, so that you can make reference to exactly all the information that was gathered at the time of the excavation. This is from the Cretaceous age material down on the shoreline. This is fossilized wood. This material here is like an old root or a stem or something like that. So leaf fossils also occur there, and that's one of the points of interest, on our beach tours. There's actually some coal, some very soft coal, which is lignite, which is even softer than bituminous coal. This comes out of the Cretaceous here. We looked at concretions outside. There are a lot of these on display. These are the so-called Indian paint pots, and there are a number of them here as well. So, this is sort of where materials look looked over. Some of it's put into educational programs, some of it's put on display. Well, yeah, that wraps up our mini tour for today, and gives you an idea what people can find at Garvies Point, and it's for all ages. I mean, you got indoors, you got outdoor trails, you got the beach. If you're looking for something to do on a weekend or any day, it's a nice visit.